as well removed, which can give Jayce a bit of a hard time if you want to flex it up there. We assume that it's mid most of the time. Important flex pick, but again, you're not solving this jungle issue just yet.
You aren't, and the Gragas is actually really nice here as a flex in its own right, but also just as a response here. And let's see what Ari go with. It's the Viego yet again, so Leyan feeling himself on that pick. The Maokai as a response for Ning.
Now, I seem to remember that Ultra Prime banned away that Maokai on their side the very last time they played. That Maokai is a better looking than most, and what you're doing now, we see this a lot actually. Maokai Jayce is a very popular combo because what it does is it keeps your arm's length and it disengages for the Jayce. Jayce gets to play at range. You're now playing Jayce into double melee on that Gragas and the Viego, which means that you have a bit more ability to kind of use your range advantage. And the Aphelios does the same thing, so we get to revisit some of those fun ability names. The last one, by the way, was Ace in the Calirum for that last ult. I didn't say that last game. It's one of my favorite ults as well. But you've got double backline
you just steal that
range.
from Caitlyn.
We like to be original here. But hey, that Maokai going to do a lot of work. I think you can start indexing into a bit more disengage as well yourself. And he conspicuously on the table maybe can be put in towards that bot side for Baolan if he should so wish. On the other side though, Sssum, after that incredible game one, going to pick up that Xayah again, not going to be queued up with the Lovers duo. Rakan's taken away.
Similar bans from RA in the second phase here, that Lulu and the Renata. We'll see what Ultra Prime want to go ahead and focus here. It is the Gwen, so trying to even up maybe a top lane matchup again. Well, and RA having 5th pick here, need to find a bit of a counter. Be looking into what they're going to have into this bot lane support matchup, but the Ksante locked in for Q.
I wonder now if you can go Sion here. Maybe you just slam that Jayce into mid lane, go towards the Sion on top, just kind of play outscale Ksante cube, also very strong 1v1 top laner, but I think at that point you can play around Maokai with the Sion. Maokai's not great as a soul tank is what I'm thinking there. Yeah. Sometimes you do kind of end up
Forge is also
just kind of
Forge is a proficient Jayce player, so I think it is absolutely viable, right? Oh, we do see the lock-in.
It's going to be that no. So, yeah, that Jayce going towards
there we go.
And we are going to get Aphelios Thresh. So, with a shorter range composition from Rare Atom.
There we go! Let's go,
Hook versus Hook. Hook City and bot side. Thresh versus blitzcrank. This matchup has flip-flopped in terms of who is prioritized year after year. Typically, the way that you evaluate this matchup is if both champions stand still and press hook at each other, because Thresh CCs himself when he's pressing Q, blitzcrank does it for a short amount of time. Who wins? I think in this kind of moment, when you have a reset comp for that Viego, one hook can lead into reset, can lead into an infinite amount of CC. I am favoring the blitzcrank side of that when it comes to group fights. The question is, how much can Baolan do for his team with his Lantern? That can be very important, making sure that his carries can stay alive a little bit longer.
Again, Ultra Prime backs against the wall. Elimination from spring playoffs on the line here. As we let the Gyos ring, it is still about similar style composition, but looking for picks for RA. Well, on the other side for Ultra Prime, I feel looking at the strength of this cohesion here, and Hery having a big influence on the Gnar instead of the cannon.
And I'm sorry to say, Mazel, the game's already over. Strive got a mana flow ban stacked for free.
Yeah,
how'd you come back from that,
honestly?
Man. I'm sure many other people have queued up in their own flex queues and to shot calling level 1. Hey, I've got to get first strike, got to get spell thieves procs, got to get mana flow ban. So important to track in these ones. Actually, non-trivial. If you actually manage to poke off a mana flow band or two before minions even spawn, you walk into lane having regen your mana back, and you get to your mana flow band stack like maximum a lot earlier, which is when you actually start getting the actual mana regen as opposed to just kind of upping your maximum mana. Which
interesting.
Weird joke. Actually, something to track in some games like this.
Little things. That's the theme. That's the theme. We do get bottom side start for both jugglers here, though. Little fact, obviously, Southwind has played the blitzcrank competitively before. He's played it 3 times, and he has a 0% win rate on it. So maybe looking for his first win here on the blitzcrank and competitive at least. And they're going for a level 2 gank here for Leyan.
They wanted out Tribush, but they surely should stop back and ready. Are they going to have to flash hook? What's happening
the rocket grab should be available here, and they're going to be willed into the bush. Here you go, level 1 for Baolan. That is a flash and a play. Pulled out by Ultra Prime. Doggo getting a decent amount of pushback now into Leyan, who will take a heavy trade and have a lot rougher of a time to get back in his jungle. He is
but you don't have the flash shot Baolan now, and you don't have the heal. So Southwind also course, kind of basically just kind of lining up the shot and saying, okay, cool. Freebie, it's onto a stun. So where Adam don't get the best case scenario, that could have, as much as we joked about things earlier ending the game, that could have been a game-determining play immediately. Now it's going to be Ning's chance to visit this bot side and maybe give a little bit more safety to Ultra Prime, but already giving push control, giving wave push control over to that Xayah and the blitzcrank, meaning that Aphelios doesn't have access to the minions. He's a champion which really wants to be hitting minions, particularly when he has Severum, because he gets so much life still very early into the game. That's a big advantage already artificially built up.
Oh, Ning has found that full-on wraparound, and now flashes are going to have to be burned by RA here. They're trying to get a little bit of this feather recall action. Flash from Sssum!
Oh!
If Sssum is going to get first blood here, and he does! He'll be immediately traded over to Doggo. But that's the kind of aggression from Sssum that we love.
Starting as he needs to go on, had that excellent game 1 performance on the Xayah, largely due to those feather callbacks. Doggo's going to back with a kill of his own though. It's not the first blood, and would love to be able to stay around to sort out his
There's a big difference in lane right now though, Nymaera. Like, the call completed for Doggo, but it is that pickaxe for Sssum.
That is actually really big to know. Very, very worthwhile bringing that one up. And the fact that Xayah gets to get that kill when the wave is also pushing back towards them, I think that's actually going to slow push back towards them. There's going to be more farm coming up after this point. Yeah, this is really awkward moment. You don't have the flash from Baolan to follow up very easily at this point. You can't flash in for a play. You can't flash in for a big kind of CC combo. Sim sees the angle, gets the double damage down. Big numbers pop up on your screen. And despite Doggo getting that kill, extra gold from that first blood, wave kind of crashing in towards them as well, so they get to pick up an extra bit of the wave coming back after that point. Raraton very happy with how the bot lane play goes.
Very, very happy, and it's kind of interesting to see. I mean, everybody pretty much grabbing biscuits for RA, trying to make sure they can sustain in lane, keep a little bit of presence there as well, except for obviously Leyan. Yeah. We get the Hex Flash play and the rocket grab on a Doggo. He has to flash, and that is punishment as the play comes through to stop out the aggression from RA. Look who's coming. Leyan right around the corner for some Alcove gameplay.
This is all because Leyan pays one trip level 2 very early into the game to set this lane behind. Thresh wants to be playing on the wave, playing aggressively, but they can't do that. They're forced off the turret. The name of the game is just make Doggo useless.
So far, so good for RA in terms of the movement for the team. Now, Ning has found a response on bottom side. We'll be able to spot out that roam from Strive. So we'll see the TP used from Strive get back in the lane. Ning over here to dissuade that aggression that RA has put point and present in bot.
I love that from Strive, by the way. I'm just cutting off very briefly because that was his first back of the game. So he's just done this entire initial laning phase, goes down bot side just to see if there's anything to happen. He still has his first teleport of the game, gets to recall, gets his first buy-in, and gets to go back into lane as well. He's not got level 6 just yet.
He's first here to the fight to another rocket grab, and this time there's nothing for Baolan to get out. He doesn't have the Dark Passage himself, and that is first kill, at least of the fight, and now a dragon going over to RA.
I think Southwind is got a point to prove. Didn't get that player of the game in the first game. Was subbed out, of course, for the last 2 series before this one. Comes back with his with a 98% kill participation in the first game. Huge performance in this second one as well, very early on in the blitzcrank, which many people see as a risky pick, many people see it as an ego pick, but into the Aphelios Thresh as the last pick support. It would have been so easy.
Like, they literally have no tools left. You punish them 3 times in a row, and it comes back and forth, and you're like, okay, thank you.
You know the, you know that SpongeBob meme is like, wait, do you want to see me hook that Thresh? Do you want to see me do it again? And then Baolan is sat here, and he finally has his flashback. So, but at this point, because you're so far behind in lane, you're going to start falling behind in big damage from your AD carry and the big follow-up. You're falling behind in just the amount of safety you're going to have. That flash, that's probably not going to last the next few minutes.
You see Ning now just trying to band-aid this bottom lane a little bit with maybe a capitalization on aggression of RA. Southwind will be able to spot this one out, maybe getting baited by taking this ward, but here comes Strive to stop anything that could be happening.
This would be a 3v4, but I think we're at a see Forge walking down on that ward, so they're sat here, they know the wave's coming towards them. There is no obligation for them to walk up unless they're walking in to draw in a play if they so wish. So I see Southwind, he missed like 1 or 2 minions. absolutely fine at this point. Now they get to hit it
Still
again.
up
They see
in
Forge back in
CS.
mid lane. They see Forge back in mid lane, and you're right in saying, you know, they're still up in CS. They're going to be even more so. Way more minions for them to kill in those waves right now. And Ultra Prime, it is not looking great for them. We already talked about the worries about, they've not really done that well on the old blue side before. On that red side, Fallen Prey to a very valuable last pick red 5 support. We're out of making the most out of their side choice and draft in this early game.
And definitely not getting that kind of stability in the bot side that you maybe need against this matchup. But Doggo still will be a threat on his Aphelios. See if that does come to fruition for Ultra Prime. And it really is now next up about this Rift Herald fight that RA is using priority in mid lane.
It's about as stable as a homeless horse.
I've never heard that before. What is a like? Why?
Well,
how does a horse in homeless?
Because horses stay in stables, so it's unstable.
But that's a home.
It's homeless. Yes, but if it's a homeless horse, then it doesn't have a stable. It's unstable.
Well, then that's just not taking care of your animals correctly.
Very true. Well, maybe it's a wild horse.
All right. A stallion, a homeless horse. All right. You bring animals to me, Nymaera. You gotta have some background. You gotta have some backup.
I'm not gonna lie.
Come on.
You know, I did grow up pretty rurally. I grew up in the fields of England. Seen a horse or two in my time. But, yeah.
Oh
not
wow.
Really.
Oh man, I didn't know I was with some man seen a horse. Oh my god. I should have dressed better. I'm sorry.
Dress for the occasion. Dress for the job you want to have. Maybe next time I should dress it. I don't know where I'd go with that actually. I was trying to think.
Have you ever done any farm work? You ever done from the fields
not
of
really.
England?
No. No, I did some like hiking around that because particularly in the British school system, there is a couple of like things you can do to kind of get kind of like a certification to say I'm not gonna get myself very hurt by walking into the wilds. Might get yourself hurt walking into the top side.
If I die to a random animal, it's not your fault.
I mean, luckily in the UK, aren't too many wild animals that can really hurt you. You very much have top lane with something like a wild Gnar.
That's a big wild animal. The kitties and the giant Gnar, that's a lot. And
yeah, they don't really warn you about.
It.
They don't really warn you about like the wild man with a hammer. That one is slightly more concerning. As Forge gets himself onto the board, we haven't really talked much about Forge actually. Coming in, Qing, who had mixed performances in this split before. Fairly quiet game one on the Annie. Had some moments where he was looking okay in the team fights, but we really didn't have much to call home about on the mid laner coming in. And in the second game, Jayce has been one of the LPL's real priority picks. They absolutely love playing that for a lot of our top mid laners. We've seen it more recently being exposed a little bit by players. Southwind's going to get hooked.
Oh, they actually do get a nice hook here, and Southwind does actually get a nice flash out. He doesn't even die, man. Oh my goodness. And here comes Leyan, has the Rift Herald in tow as well.
I mean, he blows the flash, but when you don't have a heal on your AD carry, you just kind of assume that those plays get killed. Baolan not dropping the Ignite there.
Is this just time? I mean, they do a little bit more damage. This is just first tower.
Yeah, well, they don't have any way to stop Sssum from walking up and killing the last of this turret. If it was already bad enough, you are now, you've got 30 CS left on your call for Doggo, so you're not going to have that done for the next, 2-3 minutes. It's going to be a little while before that one comes up. So Sssum gets the back with those tower gold, with plate gold, with also the early gold from those kills as well. This Xayah, for the next few minutes before that call pops in, is going to be even further ahead than they already are.
My goodness. And second dragon also for RA, so the early stacking going their way. And right now it just has been that full core press from RA as a whole. And I want to, while we have an opportunity, go back to that conversation you were having about Forge.
Yeah,
because
very
Forge has bounced around a decent amount, right? He was an original IG Young prospect back in the day. I guess not back in the day, 2019, but especially to see kind of that bounce around and starting the year off at least in anyone's legend, but coming in here to try to provide some reinforcements for Ultra Prime. When we were talking about last chance saloon here in this series.
Oh my word!
That's a lot of gold. That's yep.
That's no bird. That's a
do you see? I know it means nothing, but Baolan at the very bottom versus Sssum at the very top is almost like double the goal at this point. And obviously that's going to be the case usually with this sport, but I just think it's interesting as Sssum is set up right now with only 1 kill, but it's all that plate money and the first tower going through. See, Monkey actually coming through. Nice triple play, but Baolan's already gone. Now you get the reset from Leyan. Can he get it? He actually doesn't. And 2 kills fall quickly for Ultra Prime. Forge trying to capitalize on Sssum. He does have that blade collar out. He's trying to get some damage, but now he's in trouble himself. The Gravitum connects, Moonlight Vigil on top of it, but it's not enough. Strive will be here to defend the turret.
Oh, Strive going to be able to clear this way. I wonder if he can cast someone back. I was actually wondering if he could have got Forge in there after clearing that wave, but oversteps from Rare Atom and Baolan. Just as we were slandering the good name of this support, with all the gold which he was missing out on, finds a really important pick. Hook champion versus hook champion, of course. Whoever lands that skill shot first, often at the advantage. Baolan choosing that time to say, okay, I will once again dive for the team. This time we'll actually achieve something for it though. 0-3, but very importantly so, does manage to stop those resets coming in from Leyan just after.
So, we actually do have the back into the AP Maokai build. I like it. I know we saw a little bit of a trend away from it once Maokai, the kind of things came through here, but I love that he's going for that one.
So we have seen some full tank Maokai where we've seen a bit of Sunfire first, we've seen, Radiant Virtue or whatever, we've seen a couple of different options. We are seeing a bit more of a hybrid of kind of Demonic Embrace and tank after that point. This is basically what we're just saying. Hook lands, manage to stop that reset, very importantly so. You get those resets through the extra healing, extra damage, of course. Very, very important from the Viego, who has gone for the Kraken Slayer, if we're going to talk about these builds as well. So potentially there's hybrid build coming out of Ning, just because the Demonic Embrace, very good single item. You don't really need to go towards full AP after that point. It can be good enough on its own to give you enough rush value. On the other side though, Kraken Slayer, lots of individual DPS, so if Leyan ever gets to kind of free hit someone like that, Maokai, those HP bars are not going to last very long in Southwind. He has Fog of War to play with now. Be aware.
Be a little bit scared. Those big red gloves will scoop you up. As we did get Gale Forces completed for both Sssum and Doggo there. We're getting a potential vision game around this next Rift Herald, and could be RA looking to further cement their objective lead here. As Strive is actually coming down. A hook goes through onto Southwind. You need to regroup for Ultra Prime.
Cube's going to come into the play as well at this point. Baolan's going
nice
again.
Double play. Baolan is finding a lot of good engages, but now Sssum picks him up easy. As Cube able to defend a little bit. Southwind getting a heal there now, and a knockback onto Hery. He has Gnar, but he can't get a big one. Now he gets Southwind in the end, but he falls afterwards. The beast has been slain, and Sssum is just picking up all the gold. As he does go topside, it's the rest of his team that cleans up Ultra Prime in the mid lane. Red, white, can you fight Doggo? He gets one, but the all-out from Cube seals the deal.
Rare Atom have been very proficient in this series at finding split plays in the fight. Despite the hook and the flare and everything landing from Baolan towards the bot side of that fight, threatening Sssum, threatening Southwind. The top side of it, Leyan and Cube managed to stop Forge from getting any value from this Jayce at the start of it, and that's already a reset for Leyan to enter the fight with. Ultra Prime, it feels like they've lost track of what's happening on both sides of the fight. So as we go back into this replay, watch what happens towards this side of it, because Strive, uses the ult very early on to Forge. Then Forge completely miscommunicates with the rest of his team. Maybe he just thinks he's going to zone out Strive and Leyan, gives his life for very, very little. And on the bottom half of this fight, Southwind is the one taking the damage. You're not taking damage off the table from Cube or from Sssum. So despite kill coming into Southwind at the very end of that fight, it is a consolation prize at best.
Yeah, and I hate to point it out, but there's just a lot of dysfunction you can see in the team fights right now for Ultra Prime, right? We've seen multiple times now Baolan getting actually pretty good engages, but there's not really a follow-up, or if it's a follow-up, it's forced.
I wonder which other team we've said that about before. Is it a certain atom of the rare variety? Could be any team, honestly.
Yeah, could be any team, but it is needing some of that kind of tightening up from Ultra Prime. While we do see a third dragon going to RA, it is Ultra Prime that get the Rift Herald, so they have something to say, but another outer tower does go down for RA.
Yeah, turret's kind of annoying as well, because when you're playing as Fog of War, with a blitzcrank in it, very, very dangerous. Mid lane outer turret is one of the most important things in the game to give yourself vision on your side of the map. If you have mid lane outer turret, it's just so much easier to walk into your own jungle and secure vision. It's going to be much harder to do that from this point. So, quick other note as well. Of course, this is the Chemtech Rift. Viego and, of course, the Ksante, some of the very best Chemtech Soul users in the game, despite outside of what Tryndamere and I suppose Alawi. It kind of like these in cards as well, because you know he just dies and uses his passive really well. But with these champions, particularly with Viego, wanting to get the resets, having huge damage at that point, and Ksante artificially bringing himself below half HP when he presses ults, very important to see. Ultra Prime not just give this one over for free, thinking that the Chemtech Soul is kind of a bit of a freebie. 3 Dragons very early on from Rare Atom again, putting that neutral objective pressure on top of Ultra Prime. It's the sword of Damocles, as I like to call it, which is kind of the mythical story of the king sat on his throne with a sword hanging above his thread, his head by a thread. Will fall down at any moment. Hopefully not on Forge just now for him, but Ultra Prime not in a good position is what that boils down to.
Yeah, definitely not. And I think RA in a good position now. Cube is going to be the focus, the ire of Ultra Prime, at least on the bottom side. But don't think they could really do anything here. There's the Rift Herald going to be popped. So Hery actually given some gold here with this Rift Herald going through to try and get some bounty gold and catch Ultra Prime up just a tad.
Just a little bit. Of course, Gnar, Hery had a good individual laning phase in game 1 and in this early game as well in game 2. Hery's actually been doing pretty well. Multiple Herald Tower push here. You're getting objective bounties from this, which means that you are pushing up. Rare had a little bit of a slip up on their lane assignment, not calling anyone back to that play, giving up, feels like an unnecessary inner turret on that second charge.
Yeah, they were up like 5,000 gold, now whittled down to 3, which is still definitely something good to have on the map for yourself. But Ultra Prime finding a little bit of an in. And you'd love to see it. But something I do want to highlight for RA in a bit of a rocky late game push for them. We were talking about a 6 series loss streak at least in a row for them. But they came into the season building around this top trio, right? Strive, Leyan, and Cube, all holdovers from last year, trying to change things up in the bottom lane, bringing a Sssum over from LGD, who has been an extreme bright point for them. And now having Southwind come back into the roster, like, we're seeing some of that shot calling really mend a lot of the wounds that it feels like we've been dealt for him emotionally from RA. And now we'll see if they can mend some more wounds with Forge's blood. They don't fight it.
Is that how you mend wounds with other people? That seems a little bit occult to me.
I mean, if you really talk, like, if you really want to get it, yes. Then when people lose blood, you do give them blood. So, like, you know.
That's true. And also, like, you got the whole, like, platelet thing, which is how you kind of, like, plot up. Yeah. I know.
If you want to get medical to the nitty-gritty.
Yeah. It's like, wow, Mazel, I brought you animals. You brought me blood.
It's a little bit different.
We are so on topic today. We only talk about League of Legends. The only thing which interests us. Absolutely not having low attention span. Low time left on this Baron though. That's been taken down very, very quickly.
Ultra Prime trying to make a play. Doggo has red-white. Baron down here, very low. Ning's not going to be able to get into the pit just yet, but here comes the engagement with Baolan. Moonlight Vigil under multiple members here as well. Ning on the side, corralling them in, and Ultra Prime get a team fight that helps them as the red-white definitely came out huge, and Doggo picks up a double.
Picks up 2, but Rare Adam still walk away with 2 outside of that. I kind of feel like Southwind kind of killed himself by hooking Doggo. He could have walked away and flashed over the wall rather than bringing the low-range DPS threat into your face.
With red-white.
with all of the chakrams spinning up. The lowest range, the highest DPS combo from Doggo. Absolutely works out a treat for him. So what this does mean is that with so many people dead, Ultra Prime do actually manage to get themselves a couple of turrets down as well. So a couple of slip-ups in a row, Rare Atom, I think maybe more than they had to after this point.
Really big hook.
We talked about biology. We can talk about geography a little bit too, because that Maokai on blue side allows you to pin people into Baron Pit really, really easily. And that was one of the big factors of that fight. Southwind, as we said, had a ultimate whirling dervish of Doggo into him with the Severin Crescendo. Strike isn't going to get caught by that hook. We are coming into this Dragon. Soul, of course, up on the table, spawning right now, would be very important for Rare Atom. A lot of their champions use it well.
That's the biggest thing. We have to go right back to another fight. This is Soul for RA. Not saying they absolutely need to fight. Doggo will be off of his Severum. Here comes RA around the side. Southwind looking for a hook. Baolan missing his. That's in it going wide. You got Chakram stacking up for Doggo. There goes a hook. No! And Baolan is gone. Cass comes out to separate. Doggo stacking up still. The Dragon goes over to Ultra Prime. Look how many Chakrams are hitting. But the Calibrum goes wide. Ultra Prime stopped the stacking of Dragons from RA, and they get a little bit back.
And they only lose the 1 kill for it. That was also, I believe, another objective bounty they're still on. It's actually hard to remember. This is 22 minutes into the game. This is not a late game scenario yet. It's not like Plate said, you can eat it. It's not like a Plate said, of course. But it's not like the objectives have fallen off just yet. You can see those yellow rings on the objectives still. Ultra Prime still have them. They should, by all means, be much further behind Rare Atom than they currently are. But
they've got
a couple
3 of
of
them back to back. Like, they still have them up.
Well, they had the bot lane outer turret, they had the mid lane, the bot lane outer and inner turret, they had the top lane turret, they had the dragon as well. That's even 4, thinking about it. It's the double power push in that bot side. So, Rare Atom, sleeping a little bit, giving a lot of gold over where it realistically shouldn't have been. Doggo now at 2 items, heading towards those 3rd. Zeal, very effective component on itself. It is stands above a lot of standalone components by itself, so despite falling behind, assume in the very early game, more than ready to fight at this point. So Rare Atom, they're going to have to find themselves a 2nd gear at this point, or they stall out.
The thing is, all it takes
That's actually
is
the
one...
opposite of how stalling works. You go to a lower gear to not stall. That's okay, we're moving past that.
We're going to go past it, yep. And all you need is a strong hand from Southwind. If he catches one big pick onto Doggo, there's no cleanse, there's no getting out except for a dark passage, hopefully, and maybe a flash. But it is about those crucial setups for both Baolan and Southwind.
The place that I used to live used to have like 7 really big hills on it. You could smell the clutch from absolutely miles away. Everyone's stalling out on that. Absolutely crazy. Rare Atom starting to get some of that again. That acrid smell of someone not quite not quite getting the right clutch on point. Of course, it doesn't even apply if you drive automatic cars. But hey, manual cars. We're just built different.
Get in the real world. Now it is that 3rd item completed for Sssum. A bit different than Doggo, not getting to that 3rd item just yet. But we don't have anything really to fight for right now on the map. We just have maybe a little bit of side lane catching for RA. But if Ultra Prime continue the way they're going, I actually really like their team fight.
Me too, actually. I think that Maokai has shown a lot of value for Ning, despite it not being one of his most valued picks, you have to say, compared to something like the Sejuani or the Wukong. Preferred a little more aggression as opposed to the reactive play of the Maokai. Not much to play for except for side lane kills. Hery, that's 2 items though, not the easiest person to take down. Ultra Prime reminder, if they lose this game, they are out of playoffs.
Hery's over the wall. He knew they were there. Gnar isn't coming out just yet. Reset comes through for Leyan. Now you've got those refreshed abilities, and Leyan's going forward. Dark passage there to get Ning out of dodge. But it's RA that strikes.
And again, if they were to lose this series 2-0, if they lose this game, they would be out of playoffs. They can say goodbye to spring 2023 playoffs at that point. And that play, Hery, who's had a fairly solid series overall, makes a bit of a blunder around the red button.
Can't do it. Nice grab in for Southwind, and Ning is already gone off the map. You got no minions here to push under tower though, but RA just continuously finding these picks with this blitzcrank.
Southwind gets subbed out for 2 series, comes back with an absolute vengeance, the Rakan and then the blitzcrank. Don't be fooled by the KDA. Yeah, he's had a couple of pickoffs against his name as well, but right from the start of the game has been defining how this game would go out. And sadly, once again, you look at Doggo on the other side of the rift, 4-1-4 on his ever-present, ever-famous,
it's just not enough.
Aphelios. It's just not enough. You know, this is what, his 43rd game now on the Aphelios, 2nd game in this series. We know exactly what he can do on this pick, but it has felt like this season above so many others, it has been Doggo against the world. There's no Atlas, sadly, can't hold up that one for free.
And I could get on a soapbox all day. Doggo was one of my favorite players coming into the LPL. Obviously, when we saw him pop off for that PSG Talon sub, but he brings emotion to the table, right? He brings that want to be better, and you hear him in interviews and stuff. That heart is there, and that is something I hold on to so heavily. And to see back-to-back years that Doggo has not been able to rise above the occasion and rise above on his team, BLG first, now Ultra Prime, it is heartbreaking. And while Leyan has the heartbreaker on the other side, maybe he'll be able to put that last knife in the heart that is Doggo here for this season.
Not in position this time to use the blue side Maokai advantage around that Baron pit, pin them into it. Lisa, the last Baron. Ultra Prime could take away 2-3 kills. Keep getting caught.
Oh, they got the flank from Strive. Oh no, he's gonna go straight in. He has the cast, but it's Baolan that gets popped out first. Now the resets are there. Big engage from Strive again. Doggo, he can't get the damage down. All out comes in. And is this it? The full ace just comes through. Nobody falls for RA. And the Heartbreak Knife has been shoved deep into Ultra Prime.
Rare Atom were the ones primed and ready for that fight, ready for this series. It feels like on the other side, we talked about Ultra Prime, talked about Doggo, and how much of a heartbreaker it has been for them in spring 2023. Rare Atom came in, especially after the first couple of weeks, expecting a little more from this team. Their mid-split and late split haven't really matched the expectations they set themselves from very early on, but in this series, managing to find a little bit of what made us so confident about them earlier on, so they should be on track for that 2-0.
They're pushing in the last inhibs here. This will be Ultra Prime bowing out of spring if they lose here. Maybe one last ditch effort, one last big fight on the table for them, and maybe want to capitalize here on the back end of it. Just trying to get something back. Ning's just going forward for it. He's got the Nature's Grasp on the 3 members, but grab in, and now again he's gone.
Cube.
And the rest of RA, the atoms are tightly bound and smashing into Ultra Prime. There ain't no Hadron Collider here. It's just RA taking down Ultra Prime with a 2-0 sweep, and that is Ultra Prime eliminated from the spring season of LPL, and RA looked damn good with Southwind at the helm.
Doggo the last to fall. It's the first to stand up to the plate for this team. Really felt like Doggo could have once again had an inroad, had a way to success, but once again, sadly, once again, it was not to be. This AD carry that we have come to expect so much from, not be seeing them in the playoffs of spring 2023 in the LPL. Rare Atom walk away with some extra wind in their sails, maybe some Southwind.
Hey, it's definitely blowing from the south, but it is just a holistic effort from RA to stop that huge slide. I don't even know if it's a slide. It's just a fall. 6 series in a row, 3 of them being 2-0s, and to bounce back like this against Ultra Prime, looking so good with a lot of that control and decisiveness coming to a T.